In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the rear shock absorbers on this Toyota Tacoma. Let's install these TRQ shocks. I prefer to start at the top of the shock absorber. There's a 14mm bolt that's holding this on here. So get your socket on it. Take that bolt off. Let's do the same to the bottom of the shock. I know ours is broken. Obviously, that's why we're replacing this. Get this out of here. At this point, this washer should have come off with the bolt. And now these bushings have to slide off of the top and the bottom. Obviously mine is broken. For you, you try to do it simultaneously, top and bottom. And sometimes they get a little stuck in place here. So with the help of a pry bar, hopefully you'll be able to slide these off. The top, I sprayed down with some rust penetrant, and well, there you go, that's coming off. We have the inner bushing, which should also hopefully slide off like this. And for me, because it's broken at the bottom, I still have to remove the bottom, but the top is done. Inspect the shaft here, or the the threaded rod where it clamps onto. Make sure it's not rotting off. A lot of times that happens, moisture gets in here. It looks like it's starting to rust, but it's still in good condition. So let's move to the bottom. I'm gonna grab some pliers on this now that I sprayed it down with rust penetrant. Try to twist it. Sometimes twisting it allows you to pull it off. Yeah, there we go. It's coming off. And there's leftover. This washer, it's supposed to come off, and honestly, if it doesn't come off, that's fine because it has to go in on here anyway. This is basically just on the inner part of the bushing, so the bushing has something to press up against to. Like I said, if yours comes off, don't forget to put it back on. I'm just going to leave mine on here. I'm going to take a wire brush and just clean this area up to make sure that the new shock, when it slides on, doesn't slide onto a bunch of rust. And I will add some grease to it once I'm done cleaning, but get this area looking a little bit cleaner. If it is completely rotted and you think that it is unsafe, make sure you address that appropriately, whether it's replacing this whole mounting area or doing whatever you have to do, but you don't want the shock coming off while you're driving. Doesn't have to look perfect. Just get all the large chunks off so that the new shock bushing doesn't wear out prematurely. Because the truck lives in a rust-prone environment, I'm going to add grease to this. This is grease that is rubber-friendly. You don't want to add any sort of grease that will swell up rubber over time. So make sure that whatever you're using is the appropriate grease. If you don't have rubber-friendly grease, you can use silicone paste, but I prefer to put something down just so that the bushing doesn't collect moisture over time and completely rot this area out. Do the same to the top. Now we have to start the shock, and that means compressing it by hand several times so that everything that's inside of it, all the oils, can mix together. This has been sitting on the shelf, strapped down, so you need to activate it. Otherwise, if you put these in and then you start driving, when you go over bumps, you'll hear some loud clunking, almost as if it's not working, because it hasn't been reactivated yet. So hold it between your legs or clamp it down into a vise or something. Make sure it's sitting straight up. It cannot be perpendicular or even upside down. And compress it down, let it come up by itself all the way up, and just go all the way up to all the way down several times in a row. As you do this, you will feel that it's providing a little bit more resistance. That's normal, and that's exactly what you want. That means it's functioning. All right, that's good right there. Let's put it on the truck. At the top, because my washer came off, I'm going to install that first. Slide it on all the way, and now I'm going to bring the shock up. I'm going to have to slide it on both ends at the same time. It looks like on the bottom I have to raise the rear end up a little bit. Now if you're doing this on the ground, it shouldn't be a problem because the wheels are already on the ground, so you'll have to squish the shock. For me, I'm on a lift, so I'm going to put the pull jack here, just raise it up so it can line up. All right, bring this up, just raise up the rear end a little bit. There we go. That should slide right on now. Make sure it's pressed on all the way, both top and bottom. Having greased this, it should be fairly easy. Before I let go of the rear end, let's put on the bolts so that it can stay on here. Thread the bolts in. Make sure they thread on smoothly. Okay. Perfect, actually. It's going pretty much all the way by hand. Let's do the top. And let's get the bolt in on the top. That one's also threading in nice and smooth, although I can't really reach it very well, but it's in. Snug these up, not too tight though. There we go, that's bottomed out now. Have to pull that shock in and squish the bushing a little bit. Let's do the same to the bottom. All right, now let's torque them. Now the torque for these, if you have a two-wheel drive version, is going to be 19 foot-pounds. If you have a four-wheel drive, it's going to be 53 foot-pounds. Oh, that's it. Let's do the top. And that's it right there. If you used any support, lower it. And of course, you would do the same to the other side. I always recommend replacing shock absorbers in pairs.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.